What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do my deep dive for the Dolphins' current offensive line, or excuse me, defensive line, not offensive line. We already did that video. So, and then tomorrow I'm going to be doing my free agency video on defensive line, and I haven't quite decided. I mean, my original thought was I was going to split defensive tackles and defensive ends, but I may just leave them all into one video. I'll see how I feel about it tomorrow when I go to do that. But before I do, let me just mention a couple other quick things that are relevant to some players that I've had on my free agency lists, including some that I haven't really yet talked about because we haven't gotten to those positions yet. So the first is Von Miller. I wanted to mention he is on my defensive end list of free agents, but it looks like he may end up staying with the Rams. And even if he doesn't, he's definitely got a ton of suitors that are looking to, enlist his services. So there's that. Also, I wanted to mention Tyrann Mathieu is expected to hit free agency. He's on my safeties list for free agents as a potential to look at. So he is expected to hit free agency. The Chiefs did, though, franchise tag Orlando Brown, their young left tackle. So he's not going to be hitting free agency, although franchise tags can be rescinded. We've seen players get tagged and then traded. So, things always could happen, but Brown just got tagged. Jesse Bates got tagged. One of my safeties. Who else was it? It was Mathieu, Miller. Oh, David Njoku just got tagged. He's on my tight ends list. And then, so it was Njoku and then Brown and Bates. So there you have it. Just wanted to update you guys on that stuff really fast. And then we are going to jump right into the Dolphins defensive line. So, but as usual, start off with my rankings, by need, position rankings, offensive line, tackles ahead of center, don't need a guard, running back, wide receiver, linebacker being true middle, defensive line, edge over tackle, quarterback, tight end, safety, quarterback being backup, specialist being punter. All right, and so then we slide over here to the defensive line because we are now going to take a look at the Dolphins defensive line and who we have. So Adam Butler going into his sixth year, he's 27, 4.15 current APY, combine, measurables, pro day scores and stuff like that. Undrafted out of 17, 5 years in the league. I would keep Adam Butler on the roster. He is a good rotational piece in there. Started with the Patriots from 17 to 20. 2021 to present. Defensive tackles, I think we're a lot better at than we are defensive ends. Just real quick as we go through this list, the Dolphins have only 2 players listed as defensive ends on the entire roster because they actually list Jaelan Phillips as a linebacker, although I have Jaelan Phillips in this list because he's an edge rusher. He's an edge rusher, period, point blank. So I have him in this list, and I do have him as an defensive end, but the Dolphins literally only list 2 players, and that's Emmanuel Ogbah and the new guy they just brought in, Deshaun Hall. So, but I think that defensive tackle's pretty solid when you have, Raekwon Davis, Christian Wilkins, then you have Adam Butler here behind him, right? So, and then there are some other guys too, like a Zach Sealer, for example, is really good. I like him. So we got some options there. And yeah, so Adam Butler's a guy that I would keep. I think he's done pretty well for us overall. Anyway, like I said, undrafted out of 17, 5 years in, all with the Patriots, been with us since 2021. Since this past year, 80 games played, 13 started, 2,397 snaps, 479.4 per year, 113 total tackles, 22.6, 63 solo, 12.6, 50 assisted, 10 22 tackles for loss, 4.4, 2.7 or 27 quarterback hits, 5.4 per year, 17 sacks, 3.4, 1 forced fumble, 0.2, 12 passes defensed, and 2.4 per year. As for his 2021 statistics, 17 games played, 1 started, 591 snaps, 17 total tackles, 9 solo, 8 assisted, 2 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, and 3 passes defensed. And of course, he also won the Super Bowl with the Patriots, Super Bowl 53 in 2018. Hasn't graded out particularly great, but I think he is a solid rotational player in that mix. Obviously, he's not your starter. He's a backup, but he does get rotated in from time to time. And I think he is a solid guy to have in that foundational mix. 591 snaps in 2020, 54-4 overall, 55-5 run, 58-2 pass rush, 481 snaps in 2020, 51-7 overall, 49.3 run, 64.3 pass rush. 2019, 473 snaps, 59.9 overall, 61 run, 59.9 pass rush, 379 snaps in 18, 55-8 overall, 50.1 run, 56.6 pass rush. And 2017, 473 snaps, 55.2 overall, 54.6 run, and 56 pass rush. Then we move on to Raekwon Davis, who obviously he's 3 years in now, or going into his third year. He's got 2 years experience, 24. He is cheap on, obviously still on his rookie deal. I like Raekwon Davis. He does still have some things to improve on for sure, but he is one of our better run-stopping defensive linemen, and it's because of him. It's because of our defensive line that our run game, and him in particular, but our defensive line, Christian Wilkins way stepped up this year. Zach Sealer was pretty good when it came to the run. Even our edge rushers, Phillips and Emmanuel Ogbah, were pretty good in the run, and that's why our run defense actually, once Raekwon Davis came back and clogged up that middle, our run defense was solid. It wasn't spectacular, but it was solid. Our pass rush from these guys, from these interior guys, especially because we only have, like, according to them, only 2 actual defensive ends on this roster. I get that our linebackers and safeties are used a lot to provide that pressure and get those sacks and so on and so forth, but we do need more out of these guys, especially Christian Wilkins, who was a first-round pick, but we'll get to him in just a minute. So I really like Raekwon Davis there in the middle. He's round 2 pick, 56 overall in 2020, 2 years in, all with us. 30 games played, 26 started, 964 snaps, 482 per year, 68 total tackles, 34 per year, 31 solo, 15.5 per year, 37 assisted, 18.5 per year, 2 tackles for loss, 1 per year, 2 quarterback hits, 1 per year, half a sack, 0.25 per year. This past season, he played in 14 games, started 14 for 425 snaps, 28 total tackles, 12 solo, 16 assisted, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 half sack, along with earning Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team in 2020. Had good grades for that 2020 season, although not so much for this past year. On those 425 snaps, a 36.5 overall, 36.1 run, and a 54.1 pass rush. He also did obviously miss some time because of injury. 539 snaps in 2020, a 71.1 overall, 66.8 run, and a 71 pass rush. We move on to John Jenkins. He's not a terrible rotational piece, but I would let him go if you're gonna drop somebody. He's a guy that I would drop. Not super high on John Jenkins, but he's been okay. But with, when you have Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, Zach Sealer, Adam Butler, when you have those 4 guys, I think that's good enough. And then you can let a veteran guy like this go, so that way you can bring in some younger blood to kind of groom up and for now at least be just a rotational guy, maybe eventually one day become a starter depending on what happens with Wilkins and so on and so forth. So anyway, he is cheap though. He's 32, older, measurables, combine, pro day, and he was a round 3 pick in 2013, 82 overall, 9 years in, started with the Saints from 13 to 15, then in 16 was with the Saints for a bit, then went to the Seahawks, 17 with the Bears, 18 with the Giants, 19 with us, 2020 with the Bears again, and then 2021 to present with us. 100 games played, 30 started, 2,607 snaps, 289.7 per year, 192 total tackles, 21.3 per year, 104 solo, 11.6 per year, 88 assisted, 9.8 per year, 8 tackles for loss, 0.9 per year, 8 quarterback hits, 0.9 per year, 2.5 sacks, 0.3 per year, 1 forced fumble, 0.1, 1 fumble recovery, 0.1 per year, 4 passes defense, 0.4 per year. 2021 stats, 7 games played, 2 started, 176 snaps. Didn't get much out of him. 16 total tackles, 10 solo, 6 assisted. And as for his grades in 2021, 176 snaps, 71 overall, 72.7 run, 56.4 pass rush. 223 snaps in 2020, 72.6 overall, 69.8 run, 62.3 pass rush. 479 snaps in 2019, 70.7 overall, 65.1 run, 70.3 pass rush. 57 snaps in 2018, 55.1 overall, 55 run, 56.3 pass rush. 109 snaps in 2017, 76.8 overall, 73.8 run, 65.5 pass rush. 209 snaps in 2016, 51.2 overall, 52 run, 57.8 pass rush. 532 snaps in 2015, 67.7 overall, 68.6 run, 58 pass rush. 390 snaps in 2014, 64.3 overall, 67.6 run, 57.6 pass rush, and 432 snaps in 2013, 64 overall, 65 run, and a 56.8 pass rush. That moves us on now to Zach Sealer, who I've already mentioned a little bit. I like him actually quite a bit. He's been pretty damn good for us, especially recently. He's only going into his 5th year. He's only 26. Pretty cheap, $2.5 million, right about current APY. Measurables pro day. Round 7, 238 overall in 2018. 4 years in. Started with the Ravens in 2018. Then spent a little time with them in 19 before coming to us. 2020 to present with the Dolphins. 42 games played, 18 started, 1,185 snaps, 296.25 per year, 122 total tackles, 30.5 per year, 69 solo, 17.25 per year, 53 assisted, 13.25 per year, 18 tackles for loss, 4.5, 16 quarterback hits, 4, 6.5 sacks, 1.652 per year, 1 forced fumble, 0.25, 2 fumble recoveries, half a recovery per year, 5 passes defensed, 1.25 per year. And this past year, in 2021, he played in 17 games, 9 started, 518 snaps, 62 total tackles, 33 solo, 29 assisted, 6 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and 2 sacks, with 1 fumble, forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. And as far as his grades go, he had 518 snaps this past season, 84.9 overall, 79.7 run, 76.7 pass. And as you can see, he's been pretty solid in his grading each year, minus his first year, and has gotten better overall. 533 snaps in 2020, 69.3 overall, 67.3 run, 65.7 pass rush. 117 snaps in 2019, 76.2 overall, 78.3 run, and a 65.9 pass rush. And he only had his worst year, whereas he was graded the worst. He only had 17 snaps. So 58.3 overall, 51.4 run, and a 54.5 pass rush. That does now move us on to Christian Wilkins, who obviously was a first-round pick from us for a few years ago. He's going into his 4th year, so I have been talking about how it'll be interesting to see if they pick up his 5th-year option, but they don't need to do that until next season because he is going into the final year of his actual rookie deal. So we still do have him for now, although he is about $5 million current APY, current cap hit as it stands. So there is that. He is 26, but obviously still on that first-round rookie deal. Here are his measurables, combine scores. Like I said, round 1 pick in 2019, 13 overall. Now, real quick, I have said this. Christian Wilkins certainly had the best year of his year this past season. I do like him, like generally speaking, although I don't think that he has quite yet earned that 13th overall pick. I think he's definitely moved his way up into the back end of the first round. Sorry, my cat's being a dick in the background, so that's why I'm having to look over and spray his ass occasionally because he's being a dick. Anyway, so I think he's earned his way into the back end of the first round as a late first round pick. He's earned that kind of a status, and I think he's earned his fifth year option. Unless he completely shits the bed this year, I definitely think he's earned his 5th year option. And as long as he can consistently produce at the level he produced this past season, then I think, it'll be a fine pick. And especially too, if we end up starting to win regularly and make it to the playoffs and stuff, then I think I can get over the fact that they took him 13th overall. Although, even though that will be true under those circumstances, I'm still not going to like the fact that, they took him after there was a run on defensive line. They still could have prioritized better and everything like that. That will always be true, and that's part of the reason why he hasn't earned that status to me in my head. But as a player, I do like him. As a person, I like him, and he's getting there. Like I said, back end of the first round, I think he's earned for sure, and I think he's earned his 5th year option. So 3 years in, all with us, 47 games played, 43 started, 2,100 snaps, 700 per year, 192 total tackles, 64 per year, 107 solo, 35.7 per year, 85 assisted, 28.3 per year, 17 tackles for loss, 5.7 per year, 20 quarterback hits, 6.7 per year, 8 sacks, 2.7 per year. Most of those obviously came this past season. More than half. 1 interception, 0.3 per year. 1 forced fumble, 0.3. 3 fumble recoveries, 1 per year. 11 passes defense, 3.7 per year. Giving us some solid production. And again, I like him. I like him there next to Raekwon Davis. The two of them are solid starters with Zach Sealer, Adam Butler backing him up. I dig it. 17 games played, 17 started, 734 snaps this past season. 89 total tackles, 49 solo, 40 assisted, 10 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback hits, 4.5 sacks. And like I said, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 4 passes defense. And he either set or matched, career bests in pretty much every category. So, and graded wise, he has been getting better, including an elite overall grade, even though obviously it doesn't average out right. But he has been getting better each and every year. And so as for his grades, 734 snaps this past season, 83.3 overall, 80.8 run, and a 70.4 pass rush. 634 snaps in 2020, 68.9 overall, 73.9 run, and a 59.9 pass rush. And again, that's the one area he needs to get better at is his pressure and his pass rush. But really, at this point, if he can just stay consistent to where he was this past season, I'll be happy with him. 2019, 729 snaps, 64.4 overall, 66.6 run, and a 58.6 pass rush. And then, of course, that does move us now. This actually should all go away, as well as this. This does now move us into our defensive ends, although that we just went through our defensive tackles, so obviously not even that many, as you can see. We do now move into defensive ends, even though they list Jalen Phillips as a linebacker. Going into his 2nd year, obviously looked like a stud in his first season. 22 years old, relatively cheap, although obviously it's a first round price tag because he was a first round pick. But there you have it, measurables, pro day scores, round 1 pick, 18th overall, 2021. I think already in his first, right, and a little juxtaposition compared to the conversation about Wilkins, I think he's already lived up to his 18th overall status. My one concern with him coming out in that draft, of course, was his health, potential health concerns with the concussions, but as long as he can avoid that and stay healthy, I always thought that his talent was going to be there, and so on and so forth. So I do love him as a player, and he did ball out his first season 1 year in, obviously with us. 17 games played, 5 started, 603 snaps. No point in telling you the per year total because he's only played 1 year, so it's going to be his totals. 42 total tackles, 23 solo, 19 assisted, 9 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hits, 8.5 sacks. Oh, by the way, I forgot to... he also set a record... He does have a record. He has the Dolphins rookie sack record. There you go. Dolphins rookie sack record. And I think he might have done something. No, he didn't set an NFL sack record. But anyway, he definitely hit the Dolphins rookie sack record. So there you have it. 1 fumble recovery, for him so far, and 1 pass defense. Did make the Pro Football Writers Association all-rookie team this past season. And then obviously, like I said, Dolphins rookie sack record, he set that. So 17 games played, 5 started, 603 snaps, 42 total tackles, 23 solo, 19 assisted, 9 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hits, 8.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass defense. And of course, they are all going to be career bests because he only played 1 season. Now, why he got such bad grades, I don't know. Seems kind of silly to me. But again, you can take Pro Football Focus grades with a grain of salt or whatever, a shot of penicillin, whatever does it for you. And they're not always super accurate, but they are a data point. A lot of people use it. So again, I like to have it in here. On those 603 snaps, a 53.7 overall, 44.8 run, and a 61.3 pass rush, which is outrageous. Like, how could you give him a fucking that low of a pass rush grade? He got 8.5 sacks as a rookie. Anyway, and it could have been a lot more. He probably could have had double that if they actually were running the defense properly in the first half of the season. They also would have made it to the playoffs, but I digress. Emmanuel Ogbah going into his 7th year, who I absolutely think that they 100% should find a way to re-sign. Because again, we only technically have 2, especially with Phillips being listed as a linebacker. We need to make sure to keep those defensive end. And Emmanuel Ogbah and Phillips are really our only 2 actual, like, legit edge rushers, right? They list Phillips as a linebacker, but he's an edge. So, you know, we can't really afford to lose him. And losing a guy like this, especially with the ways, but this is why they should have paid him last offseason, and he should have been a higher priority than Jerome Baker. But anyway, I digress again. 7th year, he is a UFA, 29, 7.5 current APY. Measurables, combine, he is going to be pretty expensive, but I would pay it. They got the money. Combine scores, pro day, draft status round 2, 32nd overall in 2016. I did find this a little interesting, but I think it was because in 2016, somebody lost a draft pick. Whoever it was that had the 32nd overall pick, I think they lost it for some reason. I don't know who it was off the top of my head, but anyway, 6 years in, started with the Browns from 16 to 18, Chiefs in 19, and then us from 2020 to present. 83 games played, 67 started, 3,999 snaps, 666.5 per year, 237 total tackles, 39.5 per year, 144 solo, 24 per year, 93 assisted, 15.5 per year, 37 tackles for loss, 6.2 per year, 85 quarterback hits, 14.2 per year, 36 sacks, 6 per year, which is solid. I mean, overall for his 6 years in, but of course the past 2 years he's gotten closer to 10 each and every season. So 9 in fact this year and last year. So he hasn't quite broken that double-digit mark, but he certainly could going forward. So 7 forced fumbles, 1.2 per year, 4 recoveries, 0.7 per year, 37 passes defense, 6.2 per year. And this is obviously someplace he excelled, especially having set a career high this past season. 17 games played, 11 started, 739 snaps, 41 total tackles, 26 solo, 15 assisted, 9 tackles for loss, 24 quarterback hits, 9 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 12 passes defense. And he is a Super Bowl champion from 2019 with what? The Chiefs, right? Yep, with the Chiefs. Super Bowl 54. You would think his grades would be a little bit better too. Again, it's PFF. But anyway, on those 739 snaps, he had a 77 overall, a 60.8 run. He was definitely better in the run than that. 71.4 pass rush, 790 snaps in 2020, 66.4 overall, 63.7 run, 64.5 pass rush, 401 snaps. And how do you give him that pass rush grade last year, right? Like, anyway, whatever. 401 snaps in 2019, 70.1 overall, 67.4 run, 62.6 pass rush, 792 snaps in 18, 57.7 overall, 67.7 run, and a 51.4 pass rush. 460 snaps in 2017, 64 overall, 66.5 run, 60.5 pass rush, and 817 snaps in 2016, 59 overall, 52.9 run, 58.1 pass rush. And then that brings us to the last guy on this list, a guy that they just brought in, gave a reserve futures contract to, Deshaun Hall, going into his 6th year as a UFA, 26 He's 26. He is cheap. Measurables, combine scores. He hasn't done anything, though. Round 3, 77th overall in 2017. 5 years in with the Panthers in 17. Eagles from 18 to 19. And you see here there's a gap because in 20 and 2021, he didn't play at all. So he doesn't have any snaps for those seasons. He's only got 13 career games played with 75 snaps, 15 per year. And that's obviously on the 5 years that since he came into the league, although he didn't have any snaps the past 2 seasons. So there's really nothing on this guy. 9 total tackles, 1.8 per year, 6 solo, 1.2, 3 assisted, 0.6, 1 tackle for loss, 0.2, 3 quarterback hits, 0.6, 1.5 sacks, 0.3. What is there to talk about, right? So this is part of the reason why they have to fucking bring Ogba back. And they got to make sure to keep that shit intact, because you start losing pieces like that, or Howard, they need to find a way to bring him back. Honestly, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later, although I did allude to it or discuss it in one of my previous videos with the fact that J.C. Jackson apparently is going to hit free agency. The Patriots are not going to pay him. And they're not going to franchise tag him or anything. So they're going to let him hit free agency. Bro, I would fucking axe Byron Jones. And I would bring in J.C. Jackson. And, I mean, even if you have to pay him a lot of money, you get rid of all the money you have to pay towards Byron, and then you give it to fucking J.C. Jackson. Having Howard and J.C. Jackson on the boundaries, bro, I mean, that's a nightmare for opposing teams. So, I mean, now they got to work some magic to make that happen, but they got plenty of money, bro. And they're like first or second in the league with cap space, and with guys that they're going to end up cutting and moves they're going to make, like they're going to be able to free up even more. So they have the cap space, and then obviously each and every year the cap goes up, etc., etc. So they should have absolutely no worry being able to go after absolutely anybody they want this season. And so, you know, there are rumors that they are going to, you know, there was some stuff put out on Twitter today. Cameron Wolf put out, some other people talked about Dolphins are going to go after multiple offensive linemen in free agency. Like I said, man, dream scenario for me would be Trent Brown, right tackle, Terron Armstead, left tackle, and Ryan Jensen at center. Now, Ryan Jensen could end up staying with the Bucks. I mean, Trent Brown could stay with the Patriots, but that certainly, or something similar to that, would be a dream scenario for me. And then also there is talk that they're also looking to get a prominent receiver in free agency. I love that. And then, you know, sign Ogba, find a way to keep Gesicki, sign Nick Needham. We'll talk more about him later, right? Fix Howard's contract, keep him around, axe Byron Jones, and bring in J.C. Jackson. You really could. And then, man, find a way to get Nakobe Dean at 29, even though, you know, that's kind of just luck. And then get your running back in the second round, another wide receiver in the third round. Bro, you'd be looking pretty good. Anyway, just to wrap this up, like I said, no snaps these past 2 years. Only 50 snaps in 2019, a 60.1 overall, 54.6 run, 62.5 pass rush. His best graded year was 2018, but he only had 16 snaps, 75.7 overall, 66.1 run, 67.7 pass rush, and 9 snaps of 2017, 51.5 overall, 55.2 run, and a 62.6 pass rush. So there you have it. That is going to wrap that up. Kept this one actually pretty short. Still made it to about 30 minutes, but not actually a lot to talk about, because as you can see, there's only like, 4 guys as defensive tackles. We have 2 guys that are currently listed as defensive ends with Deshaun Hall and Emmanuel Ogba. And then I added Phillips into this because obviously I consider him to be a defensive end, even though they list him as a linebacker, but not a lot to talk about there. I do like the status of the defensive tackles with Wilkins and Raekwon Davis, who are still on rookie contracts. I would say you should give Wilkins his 5th-year option next season. And then I would keep Adam Butler and Zach Sealer. Other than that, John Jenkins can go, although, you know, and I would try and find another younger talent to groom up and bring up behind those guys. But they need to keep Ogba. Phillips obviously is going to be good this year. He's on his 2nd year of his rookie contract. I don't know, you know, Deshaun Hall probably ain't going to do much of shit, but they do need to beef up that room and at least the depth there a little bit, even though I get it. A good portion of our pass rush does come from linebackers and safeties, but, you know, Anyway, that's how I see it tomorrow. Like I said, I am going to get into the free agent targets, potential free agent targets for the Dolphins at defensive line. And depending on how I feel, I may split it, or I may do defensive ends and defensive tackles all in the same video. We shall see. I don't want the videos to end up being like an hour long. So I'm still working through how I'm doing my formatting of this. I like the abundance of information, but it's how I actually progress through that information to keep it as streamlined as I possibly can, while also giving you the most relevant and important information. Like with free agents and the current players on the roster, just ignore the pro day stuff, combine stuff, because it's not really important for us. That'll be a focus of draft options, potential draft prospects. So anyway, with that, I'm going to wrap up, though. Before I get out of here, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like. They got it, and they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute the terrible officiating. So look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it. And this will end it after the shuttle. Taken place here in South Florida. The Dolphins have done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.